Good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. I am your host, Jose Galison. This is the Morning Dump, and this is the kitty of the day, Snorkel. Cute little chocolate boy, a little heckin' honker. He's a little sweetie pie. Caught him right after his nap. Now, if you like my hot takes here on the Morning Dump, usually around Monday through Friday, about 11:30 or 11 a.m. every day. Sorry, I'm off today. I'm a little bit late. It's 11:30 today. Sorry I'm late, but typically 11 a.m. That's the goal. Monday through Friday is when I'm usually here. If you enjoy my hot takes and want to see more kitties, be sure to hit the subscribe button. See you guys in the show.
Beautiful thing right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I'm alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white lights.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
It's crazy evil.
Good morning, good morning. What is up, guys? Getting a little bit better at the morning, that intro, that little kitty bumper. I'm getting a little smoother with it. Well, good to see you guys. It is October 30th, Thursday. We're getting over the hump. It was a pretty nice day. Cool over here in Florida. It was made for a great run this morning. No workout, but hey, whatever. Got to take a little rest occasionally. But keep it moving, stay productive, and I hope you guys have had a productive morning as well. We're going to continue on that trend, or start that trend if you're just now getting onto that train. But we'll be going through a number of things. Obviously, we usually start the show off with what I call icebreaker clips or stories. Tend to be a little bit more like Gen Pop type stuff. I think my artists today are a little bit more on the serious end, but the first one's a little fun. Then we'll get into the foreign policy stuff of the day, and then we'll talk about Josh Hammer calling in hits, because I'll never miss an opportunity to remind you guys that Josh Hammer can suck on this fucking dick. And then also Kirk killing Disinfo agents. Oh, and also I'll probably a little shameless plug to, see if we can get Dave Smith back on the fucking show. And then also Kirk killing Disinfo agents. Been kind of following the minutia of the Kirk killing stuff, and I look like we may have caught someone, maybe not quite red-handed, but I don't know, orange-handed? It's almost some sort of orange on the darker shade of a reddish orange handed. I don't know. 764's past and present. There's been some bit of a refocus on 764 and the DVE or whatever the heck they're calling him, or the NVE, the nihilistic, whatever the heck the FBI is calling them. But we'll dig kind of into the lore of how it came about and then kind of how it's presenting itself today. And I don't know, it's great that the feds are focusing on this, but their hands aren't quite as clean as they may want to make it look like they are. But while we have all that and more, we'll say our good mornings here in a bit after we get through our icebreaker stuff of the morning. Let's start off with the old, who's this, Huff? This is Dr. Andrew Huff, who, funny enough, for those who those long for the Tower Gang days, go check out, there was an Andrew Huff episode. We actually got Andrew Huff, this guy who Tucker Carlson, this super serious science man, who actually played a pretty big role in the whole COVID-19 story. I forget exactly the role he plays in it. That wasn't quite my beat. But either way, he came on Tower Gang. He riffed with us while we said naughty N-words and such, and he had a good old time. So not only is he a smarty pants, he's down to be based, and he knew exactly what that show was before getting on. getting on it. But in that tradition, hear what Andrew had to say about COVID-19 and perhaps some racial components to it.
So I remember Bobby Kennedy got into a great deal of trouble because he said at some event, of course, the New York Post led the charge against him, of course, but that COVID could be tailored. In fact, for whatever reason, COVID had disparate effects on populations.
That's absolutely true. I mean, that's scientifically true. And I was quite familiar with that literature when he made that comment.
What does that mean? Which populations suffered most from COVID?
There was a finding in a scientific publication that two different populations of people of Jewish ancestry, depending which line they're from, where one was more heavily impacted than the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
Sephardic Ashkenazi.
Yes, basically. And that was the finding. And
I'm sorry, I just realized I didn't have the volume up very loud. Let me know if that was too quiet. I can go back.
I think the point that he was trying to make, or maybe didn't articulate well, tailored to have that effect. And that's absolutely true. Old gain of function technology. And with full synthetics, what I'm saying is you can make this so specific as that if I get your DNA, like off of, say that you threw a cup, I can tailor an agent just to you. And this is how it's changing. And if you're using AI behind that, I could then, and I say that I got a DNA sample from a couple of your relatives, so I knew what your family tree partially looked like. Machine learning is very good at actually random forest and tree decision making. You do a lot of complex AI behind this to figure out and make predictions that AI could about what your family tree looked like and have the disease travel through your family line.
So for those who don't get it, remember when RFK got completely and utterly bizarrely grilled for even suggesting this whatsoever? Because God forbid race ever be a component in a reality whatsoever, despite the fact it's clearly a physical representation of genetic traits. So, I mean, which obviously would have effects on, I don't know, your body, the things you do, everything. But so it's not really that crazy, I guess, biologically speaking, that they could target via race. I mean, maybe a little bit big brain to understand how they could go about doing it, but there obviously are differences among races. But it seems like perhaps there might have been something to that. All right, let's get into JD Vance. Got some clips, got a couple clips from him today. Here is him talking about Palantir. I guess he's on the road doing the Kirk show or whatever it is, the TP USA stuff. So he was one of the guys that got for it. So he has to get the grilling from the college kids too. So this should be interesting. I'd expect perhaps some interesting clips to come in the next day or two. But let's watch this. Of course, the audio's out. Give me a minute. God, I literally just swapped over one. Give me one moment. StreamYard is useless. Here we go. All right. There we go. Let's play it now.
Hello, Vice President Vance.
How you doing?
Good. I have a question. Do you condone large private corporations such as Palantir hoarding data caches on U.S. citizens?
No, I don't condone it. And here's the thing. So I get asked about Palantir a lot because there's this internet meme out there that somehow I am super in bed with Palantir. And here's the thing that I'd say about this. Palantir is a private...
By the way, I see you guys in the chat saying it's quiet. It's actually, I think, the video more so than it's us. So, blame TP USA. So just listen close.
Company. They sometimes do a useful service, and sometimes they're going to do things that we don't like. You should be demanding that your representatives do two things when it comes to Palantir or when it comes to any other technology company. Number one, protecting your data. What's going on with artificial intelligence is going to mean that there are massive inducements to steal your data, to harvest it, and to use it against you to sell digital advertisements. That is not what I believe in, and I've been fighting against it, whether it's Palantir or any other technology, literally before I ran for office. When I ran for office, I was criticized by Republicans in my Republican Senate primary because I was talking then about Google and Facebook harvesting our data. It's unacceptable. I don't care who does it. I don't want them to do it. Number two, and this is also very important, what's going on with artificial intelligence, we got to be worried about large-scale surveillance, okay? everything, you asked about Palantir. Do you know that every time you make a credit card transaction, the credit card companies are collecting data on how you spend your money? Do you know that every time you linger over a link on the internet for more than a half minute, the search engines are collecting data on you so that they can sell you advertisements? One of the biggest questions for American policy over the next 10 years is how to ensure that you are a sovereign citizen. And you cannot be a sovereign citizen if any private corporation or any government can steal something from you that belongs to you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people. This first I'm watching it with you guys, as I'm apt to do with this show. But I've seen a lot of people. Their captions here being like, "Oh, he's clearly not controlled." Obviously, color me skeptical. But hey, whatever. At least the rhetoric is good, so that seems to be positive. Now, finishing out the morning, the icebreaker type stories, a little bit more serious end. But this was a topic that kind of got broached on the Carlson Fuentes show, and I think this was actually one of the few areas that I found to be actually of interest. It was actually once I got into relationship stuff and I guess kind of maybe modern pitfalls of a man, which kind of sort of weave in and out of each other, but less so the political stuff than that stuff that I found to be particularly interesting. But much of what Vance is kind of talking about here actually ties into this next topic. And that's porn. And I really do think, and this is by no means trying to throw shade on the audience, because frankly, I know a lot of us grew up in a time where, and now, where it's incredibly ubiquitous. But I think, as Vance mentioned, AI and kind of the surveillance thing, while we may not want there to be surveillance, there is. So we probably need to start thinking about that. What does that mean? Well, do you ever want to do anything in professional life ever? Well, how many times have you stared into a screen and fucking made this face for fucking ever, and they have record of what face you've made or whatever? Just the kind of how this is going to affect you in the long run. Also, the kind of, while it feels like, in a sense, sort of like the boomer argument for like things like weed, where you're like, well, the weed they have these days. Well, the porn they're going to have these days with the coming AI is going to be just unbelievable. Like, just you start to dabble your toes into the waters of discussion about what's going on in AI, and it's in very murky ethical waters, and it is just very concerning. And so, at the end of the day, I think as men, probably need to start thinking more about this. Start taking these sort of start taking the power back into our hands. Haha, wink, wink, joke, joke. While also sort of being serious here. But there's definitely something to be said, because I don't think this is changing, but you can adapt and or you can devolve, I guess. And I think we should probably try to rise above it as a society, because I don't think this is necessarily a good place for things to be going. And I know we're always concerned about the younger generations, but it kind of starts with us. So, but with that, I guess that's kind of enough, kind of setting up for this next piece. Here's James Lee talking about the economy of porn. I think it's concerning, kind of with all of these swirling and just kind of the current paradigm we're in. This is kind of, it weirdly, I think, is going to become a very, very important thing in the future. But let's watch this.
This is now the backbone of the American economy, and this is the guy who runs it, and it's not good. OnlyFans is by far the most profitable company in America. The company generates $150 billion per employee. Compare that with all these other companies that we think of as powerhouses, like NVIDIA, the chip maker, or Alphabet, Google, Walt Disney, Walmart. It's not even close. And so just think about the implications. What happens to society when we have an economy built off of getting normal people to do and consume adult content? Well, first we get mass loneliness, where men are dropping thousands of dollars on OnlyFans to just feel some kind of human connection with women. And on the other side, the girls are getting their soul sucked out of them. This particular creator says that she feels dead inside, doesn't feel any attraction to men anymore. Yeah, men and women don't want to have actual intimacy anymore. Look at the numbers. Only 37% of adults are having sex weekly or more, compared to 55% in 1990. In fact, the lack of social connection is more deadly than smoking 15 cigarettes a day, or drinking, or not working out, being obese, and much, much worse than air pollution. And just to top it all off, the #1 donor of AIPAC is the CEO of OnlyFans. Okay, Leonid Radvinsky, the billionaire owner of OnlyFans, according to internal documents, he and his wife pledged $11 million to AIPAC, the most of anyone listed.
I mean, is Iran a bigger threat or is OnlyFans?
That is a great question, Tucker. You guys let me know what you think.
Yeah, genuinely is a good question and is something to think about in the current paradigm. All right, let's roll to the chat. Say our good mornings. Good morning, King David. It says hit the likes, dumpers. Yes, please do hit the like as you roll in. Good morning, Tom33. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, say what now? Good morning, Kimberly there. Good morning, Retardio. Jenny O, good morning. Good morning, Mikey Chim. And I said, what's up, my nigga Jose? Happy holidays. Today Halloween? I think tomorrow's Halloween, isn't it? Well, okay. Well, thanks. Maybe you're a little day early. Good morning, Alien Big Cat 23. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Checo Ho. Said, what bullshit am I being made to think is relevant today? Well, let me correct you there. I do not want you at all to think Hammer is all relevant, because if you may be surprised, but I'm in for reminding you that I am technically more relevant than he is. Although, I guess never mind. That's not true. I guess relevant, is the wrong way to put it. Because I have more of an audience than he does, but relevance, I guess he's more relevant, actually, now that I think about it. I do have a larger audience, so we'll go through that, because I can't let an opportunity slip by to remind you guys what an inorganic fucking little goblin he is. Good morning, Martimac. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Marty McFly. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Real John Doe. Good morning, Eris Legacy. John Black, good morning. He says, let's neutralize cropping screenshots. Yup. Good morning. Saying, stop gooning, you degenerates. Yup. Porn is yet another vector of attack on you, Goy. Yes, the global pornography industry generates approximately $97 billion annually. Yep, good morning, MR Ulf G. Man, that's quite the name. First time you're here, good morning. I'm not anti-Semite because I have nothing against the Palestinians. Nice. Good to have you here. Good morning, Gerald Hall. Good morning, good morning. All right, we'll have more of y'all probably rolling here soon. Let's get into the foreign policy. I feel like I had some other thing to add to the whole gooning conversation, but I forgot. I had something substantive. Maybe it'll come back to me later. I guess I had a little thought. I just was thinking that the weirdness of like our obsession with sex as a society has led us to less sex and to be unhappy. And I don't know, just a lot of weirdness. And I think this whole porn thing plays a lot into some of the topics we'll be talking about today, particularly probably the last topic more so than anything. But all right, let's get into the foreign policy stuff of the day. With Israel declaring Gaza ceasefire back on after it kills over 100 Palestinians, including 46 children. We covered the attack yesterday, but I guess we're to believe it's back on. The Israeli military announced on Wednesday that it was re-implementing the ceasefire in Gaza after unleashing heavy airstrikes across the Strip that, according to Gaza's health ministry, killed at least 104 Palestinians, including 46 children and 20 women, though it bombed the Strip again later in the day. The escalation came after Israel claimed that its troops in Rafah came under attack, which killed one Israeli soldier. Israel accused Hamas of being behind the attack, but according to Israeli media, the IDF doesn't know if the attack was approved by Hamas leadership or if it was carried out independently by a cell of Palestinian fighters isolated in the Israeli-occupied area. Israel's Walla News reported that these attacks started when Israeli troops were using heavy equipment in the area and a tunnel the militants were hiding in began to collapse. For its part, Hamas denied involvement and said it had no relation to the shooting incident in Rafah and reaffirmed its commitment to the ceasefire agreement. Israel claimed that the bombardment that killed mostly women and children targeted 30 terror commanders. Okay, a bunch of young terror commanders, I guess. Israeli media reports said that Israel was ready to launch heavy airstrikes in Gaza before the incident in Rafah over claims that Hamas was violating the deal based on a video Israel had said showed Hamas staging the discovery of an Israeli body. But the U.S. said there was no evidence Hamas breached the deal and objected to the isolation. Of course, they've been breaking the ceasefire throughout the entire time, but if you've watched this show long enough, you're not surprised. We remember J.D. Vance downplayed this as a little skirmish. He also appeared to acknowledge the U.S. wasn't confident Hamas was behind the attack in Rafah that killed a soldier. He said that we know that Hamas or somebody else within Gaza attacked an IDF soldier. We expect the Israelis are going to respond, but I think the president's peace is going to hold. And, kind of in this thread of thought, and I guess kind of continuing on with Vance clips, here's him responding to a similar question very much in this vein.
Israel, sometimes they have similar interests to the United States, and we're going to work with them in that case. Sometimes they don't have similar interests to the United States. In this example, the most recent Gaza peace plan that all of us have been working on very hard for the past few weeks, the President of the United States could only get that peace deal done by actually being willing to apply leverage to the state of Israel. So when people say that Israel is somehow manipulating or controlling the President of the United States, they're not controlling this President of the United States, which is one of the reasons why we'd be able to have some of the success that we've had in the Middle East. Now, you ask about, sort of Jews disagreeing with Christians on certain religious ideas. Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the realities is that Jews do not believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. Obviously, Christians do believe that. There are some significant theological disagreements between Christians and Jews. My attitude is, let's have those conversations. Let's have those disagreements when we have them. But if there are shared areas of interest, we ought to be willing to do that too. For example, one thing I really, really care about is the preservation of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. Christians believe that is the site where Jesus Christ was crucified, and also that his tomb is right there as well. My attitude is, if we can work with our friends in Israel to make sure that Christians have safe access to that site, that's an obvious area of common interest. I am fine with that. What I'm not okay with is any country coming before the interests of American citizens, and it is important for all of us, assuming we're American citizens, to put the interest of our own country first. That's what we're going to do. That's what we try to do every single day, I promise you. Thank you.
All right, that's him kind of talking about whether they're controlled or not. It says when people say that Israel is somehow manipulating or controlling the President of the United States, they're not controlling this President of the United States. Well, I don't know. That hasn't been the experience I've been seeing on and on. But luckily we have some brave voices within the Republican Party, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who called out Israel for slaughtering dozens of children in Israel. Israel's military said Wednesday the ceasefire was back on in Gaza after it killed 104 people, including 46 children, according to local health officials, Greene wrote on X. 46 children. Are these not war crimes? Says Marjorie Taylor Greene. Of course they fucking are. So luckily we have people like Marjorie calling this out. One of only but a few. And at the same time, the Trump administration is doing flagrant anti-constitutional stuff, I'd say. Not that I am one and necessarily enamored with the Constitution, but I do like freedom, and it tends to be generally point that way. And this one's pretty fucking wild. Apparently, they detained a British Muslim journalist for criticizing Israel. It really is that simple. That's where we've come to. We'll read a little bit of this to give you an idea of this story. Saturday evening, Sami Hamdi was addressing a crowded speech in Sacramento, beseeching U.S. politicians to take an American-first approach rather than Israel-first. Hours later, U.S. agents arrested Hamdi at an airport. Hamdi, a British Muslim journalist and commentator of Tunisian and Algerian descent, was visiting the U.S. for a speaking tour, something he had done in the past. On October 25th, Hamdi spoke at the annual gala of the Sacramento chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, a Muslim civil rights and advocacy group. After the event, he went to the San Francisco International Airport on his way to another CARE event in Florida. Upon arriving at the airport and heading through security, though, immigration officials detained him and informed him his visitor visa had been revoked. So this is what they're doing. They're playing visa games, which is like, okay, they've sort of been doing now, but they've literally gotten to the point where it's, I guess we'll probably read a little bit more of this, but that is it. They've been told his visa has been revoked, and I don't think he's been given any reason. We'll read a little bit more. But it is as simple as, his visa got revoked. The only thing we can kind of conclude is it's probably Israel-related, but charged with nothing, visa revoked. And they've kind of already had these other situations where like with the college kids and this and that, where they revoked their visa if it didn't align with whatever. Well, here is this. I mean, basically exactly that, just without the school component. So here we are, which is kind of freaky if you think about it. I remember it brings to mind not too long ago, I believe, I think it was Candace Owens was banned from going to Australia or something. Like she's not able to go to Australia. I think that's still the case. And I think it had something to do with the Jewish League there, or whatever the heck, some Jewish entity there lobbying to get her fucking, her visa revoked for Australia. And so that's where we are as United States, to where literally a foreign country can determine who can come in and out of our country depending on how they feel about them. The legal rationale for the arrest was unclear, but two unelected far-right Islamophobic figures quickly took credit. Laura Loomer and Amy Meckelberg. The latter released a pages-long report last week calling on the U.S. to deport Hamdi and bar him from re-entering the country, alleging he was training U.S. Muslims in digital agitation, electoral sabotage, and political warfare in alignment with Muslim Brotherhood doctrine. Which, funny enough, all of those things, nothing there is, wrong. The training, you mean political action? I mean, I guess electoral sabotage, it depends on what you mean there. But the rest of those can be just completely normal within bounds of normal political action. So that's just a negative connotation put on it. Just 2 days later, the State Department revoked his visa. U.S. agents arrested him the following day. And while I do always kind of roll my eyes whenever I hear phobia this or ism that, I mean, there's been this deranged, weird, boomer mentality that I've seen about Islam lately. And while I'm by no means a fan and think there's definitely some backwards thinking in some areas that believe things, for all I know, so whatever, but it's very just over the top and bizarre and the sort of stuff that no one would accept talking about any group whatsoever. And it's just ridiculous, like this kind of the idea this guy should be not allowed to come in and out of the country because his political beliefs don't align with the Zionist cause. So that's where we're at. We also have another bombing, another boom boom. So let's watch this. Let's watch some more murder on the high seas. That's always fun. Don't we love it that our beautiful rulers provide us with daily snuff films? Isn't that great? Yep. So they bombed another one in the waters of Latin America. Let's see what we know about this one. Hexas of the vessel was targeted in the Eastern Pacific, provided no evidence to back up the claims, because of course, why would he? But that it was carrying drugs. He claimed the strike killed 4 narco-terrorists, a term the Trump administration is using to justify the extrajudicial executions at sea. The attack brings the total number of boats the U.S. has bombed since September 5th to 15, the total number of people killed in the campaign to 61, according to numbers released by the Trump administration. So Trump is at least responsible for 61 deaths. So for those who watched the Dave Smith Crowder thing the other day, when they're like, oh, you think he should be put under the prison? Yes, I 100% think that after a trial, the sitting president of the United States is deserving of capital punishment. Yes, that's 100% what I think. Not saying Dave was hiding from that, but it was just kind of funny. They're like, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, maybe at that point something would change. Of course, that'll never happen. But then maybe the next guy who gets in that seat goes, oh shit, I probably shouldn't do that thing. But yeah, according to numbers released by Trump administration, 8 boats were hit in the Caribbean and 7 were targeted in the Eastern Pacific. Days earlier, Hegseth announced the bombing of 4 boats. Yeah, we covered that. Okay, so there's no new details on this one. No surprise there. And then we also have Trump ordering the Pentagon to start testing nuclear weapons on an equal basis with other countries, because that's great. The reason being, I guess a few other countries have talked about missile testing recently, and Trump, being the fucking retard that he is, goes, well, my nukes are bigger. Well, they're not even doing nuke tests, dummy. Just missile testing. And then to add to the spookiness of it, also, this is the first time in 33 years. We always got to sprinkle a little 33 in there, don't we? And then also, the U.S. bombed Somalia for 3 consecutive days. Somalia can get some of that fucking heat too, I guess. We just gotta murder. What are we up to now? What's that, the number? We are up to 89. We're keeping track of this one along with Dave. hotly anticipating the triple digits. Will they make it? Obviously, I'm joking. I don't wish for that, but it looks like that. It almost seems like that's what the Trump administration's doing. They're like just standing there waiting to push the button. Like, come on, we're trying to get a high score, trying to get on the leaderboard. That's what it feels like every day, day in, day out with Somalia. They keep on fucking killing those people. Last story. Actually, no, not the last story. Second to last story in foreign policy. Amnesty urges U.S. bombing of Yemen migrant detention facility to be investigated as a war crime. That was interesting. For those who aren't aware, we bombed the absolute fucking shit out of Yemen not too long ago. For those who remember that was insanely barbaric. We were doing Israeli level type shit over in Yemen for a pretty good sustained amount of time, and then we just kind of backed out and we're just kind of like tried to act like it was cool and like nothing happened after just murdering a shitload of people. I remember one notable example was the double tap at an oil facility that they had, where they fucking struck it, and then when the emergency responders showed up, they struck it again. Bear in mind, this was a fuel port that was just everyone used. So, I mean, yes, the military used as well, just like you fucking, I think it was like some sort of like a sea, like for like, I guess, boats and stuff. So, like, I don't know, like a Navy, like some sort of like shipyard or something where they get gas. I don't know. I'm not a Navy guy. So, but yeah, point being is something they just bombed the double tap after that. Well, another one of their horrid crimes they committed over there was they murdered 68 African migrants that were inside of a fucking migrant detention over there because, I don't know, just fuck them for existing, I guess. They're helping out Yemen with their immigration problem, I guess so. But yeah, they did that. And so I guess luckily Amnesty International said they're looking into it as a war crime, as well they should, because just absolutely barbaric. And last, kind of, is this coming home? What the heck? Did I really? Never mind. Maybe we aren't reading it. I thought it was. Oh, never mind. I can read it. I thought I couldn't. Thought it was going to make me subscribe to this sucker. But this is from The Guardian. I wanted to kind of do a little bit of a follow-up on the story we had the other day on some of this National Guard movement and stuff. So, Pentagon orders states' National Guards to form quick reaction forces for crowd control. Pentagon memo details plan to train over 20,000 National Guard members across the U.S. to carry out Trump's order on subduing civil unrest. And I think they're talking about this in 2026. All right, let's read some more. Top U.S. military official has ordered the National Guard of all U.S. states, the District of Columbia, and U.S. territories to form quick reaction forces trained in riot control, including use of batons, body shields, tasers, and pepper spray, according to an internal Pentagon directive reviewed by The Guardian. The memo signed on 8 October by Major General Ronald Burkett, the Director of Operations for the Pentagon's National Guard Bureau, sets thresholds for the size of the quick reaction force to be trained in each state, with most states required to train 500 National Guard members for a total of 23,500 troops nationwide. That's not inconsequential, that's for sure. As authority, Burkett cited Donald Trump's August executive order that deployed the Guard to fight crime in Washington, D.C. The same order required the Secretary of Defense to create a standing National Guard quick reaction force available for rapid nationwide deployment in quelling civil disturbance. Isn't there something literally in the Constitution about standing, like a standing military force or something? I think that even technically with our own military, they have to like find a way to like somehow, I think they have to like every few years sign some sort of fucking document to kind of be like, oh no, we voted on again, so it's only technically a temporary thing, like this standing army. But it's just kind of funny that like, and I think they sort of get around it and being like, yeah, but that's like overseas, even though we have domestic bases. But anyways, this being the National Guard, and if I'm correct, if I recall correctly, that is like a constitutional thing, like a standing army not being allowed, only for like temporary measures or whatever, if I recall correctly. Then yeah, that even more so is like, wow, this is literally a standing National Guard force. So a fucking national police force for the president is what it seems like they're trying to create. Since I think from my recollection, the Guard is like, I believe they're essentially owned by each individual state, but they can be activated for federal stuff. So, which kind of makes this creepy, because it literally is kind of the subversion of the militia mentality. Because the whole workaround for a lot of the militia stuff, sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, well, that's your National Guard," and you're like, "Well, this is the exact opposite thing. This is why they say things in the Constitution like no standing army or whatever the hell how they phrase it." Anyways. Janessa Goldbeck, a former U.S. Marine Corps captain and chief executive of the Vet Voice Foundation, a nonprofit advocacy group, said the order represented an attempt by the president to normalize a national militarized police force. She predicted that force would be used to send troops to states led by Democratic governors without their permission and could be used to suppress turnout and disrupt the fair operation of elections. And it's not really it's a pretty legit concern, honestly, with some of the dark stuff he's embroiled in. I mean, it feels like this seems like silly bluster after dealing with the 2016 administration, but I take some of the stuff a little bit more seriously now. In a worst case scenario, she said the president could declare a state of emergency and say that elections are rigged and use allegations of voter fraud to seize the ballots of secure voting centers. All right, that's all we'll read on that one. Let's get into the chat before we get into our main topic. Say hi to some of the people rolling in a little late, and then we'll get into the main topics of the day. See Che Coho pointing out what is being put in our faces to consume, and that is poontang. That's for sure. Good morning, Evil Bowl Weevil. Says morning, can't believe Fuentes didn't bring up Jay's owning the porn companies in Tucker interview. I don't know, I feel like maybe it would have been a little ham-fisted at that point, but I get what you mean. Sex energy siphoned off somehow by the powers, says Alien Big Cat. Yeah, Real John Doe saying average age at which Americans first view porn is 11 years old. Checks out. Good morning, Nevsky. Good morning. Good morning. Mikey says, I literally was chilling with a girl and she casually brought up she did OnlyFans. She said she makes like $10K a month. Holy shit. That's wild. I'm not gonna lie. It'd be pretty hard to not show my butthole for $10K a month too. So, yeah. Good morning, Bug Fights. Good morning. Good morning, Romulus. Did I miss the discussion of Josh Hammer? No, we're going to get into it. We'll read the piece and everything. Will be the most anyone's read it, I think. But scrolling through. Good morning, Knife Safety Plus. I saw you sent me a couple clips. I haven't got a chance to look at them yet, so don't feel bad if I don't play them. John Doe says, once they label you a terrorist, that means you can be murked with no consequences. A nice little Zionist imperialist trick, of course. Good morning. Well, good morning, Chuck Bam. Good to see you joining us. Nevsky says it's good when we weaponize the Constitution for good and bad when they do it for evil. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly what you meant there. John Black says Google defend the guard people and support it if you have legislation being presented in your state. Yeah, perhaps that could make a difference. Now, I don't know how that would affect these stateside things. I'm not sure if that has a provision in there for that. All right, guys, let's get into what you guys are here for, and that is for the daily reminder that Josh Hammer can suck my balls. Just a reminder that based off rough Spotify metrics, I have probably almost 2 times his podcast audience, and I have no delusions of being some big timer. So I am not only am I better than Josh Hammer, but I'm also humble and handsome. I don't know, that's not the real point here, but I like to point that out every time because it is, to me, while it does sound like a self-serving brag, I guess it is a little bit of a humble brag. It really is just astounding to me. I'm not a large podcaster by any means, shape, or form. I know a lot of you guys like me. That's great. Go tell everyone I'm a huge podcaster. Let's make it reality. Manifest it. I don't care, but I'm a humble man. I'm not a liar. It's so just anytime, it just astounds me. You look at when you learn how to read metrics and you see some of these clearly artificial creations, and he is an artificial creation as much as they come. But today we'll be covering. I mean, he managed to get some relevancy, despite the fact I don't know if it'll really grant him. Well, he's had plenty of relevancy plenty of times, but despite that, he's never been able to really somehow put together any sort of semblance of an organic market. But despite that, he has a piece, and he's mustered up a bunch of relevance recently. So I guess we'll give him some more. We'll read his words. But kind of how this starts off how we get here. I guess the internet has taken a piece, he said, to kind of be a little bit threatening, a little freaky. Bear in mind, Josh Hammer is also the fucking weirdo that, what was it, like the day before and like the day of or some shit, had two very cryptic, weird tweets that very much felt like some mafia, like wink, wink, and a nod, like I'm gonna kill you, bitch. Oh, I just killed you, bitch, type of thing. And now here he is writing articles about how some of these figures need to be neutralized. Now, is this histrionics? Is this people, I don't know, getting a little bit? Is this sand in the cooters of the anti-Zionists? I don't know. We'll go over this together. But kind of starting here is Dave Smith. He says, "Hey, Josh Hammer, Daily Mail." Says, "What the hell do you mean when you write that Tucker Carlson must be neutralized? Sounds like a pretty reckless thing to say in the wake of the biggest political assassination of our lifetime, which is the topic of the piece. Also, who the fuck is Josh to decide who ought to be neutralized? Josh has not been elected to anything and has zero popular support. Millions of people love Tucker. Josh is known for being friends with Charlie and getting smoked in a debate with me twice." He also wrote another sentence there that says, "Millions of people love Jose. He's known for his work in the Oklahoma City bombing." Obviously, I'm being a little bit silly there. No, Dave didn't say that. But hey, while you're there, go tell Dave. Hey, go on the morning dump. I'd love to have him on the morning show when he's done with this fucking run of big-ass shows he's been on. Love to get him back on here. It's been too long. That way we can both make fun of Josh Hammer together. But yeah, he posted his piece right below it, so we're going to go through his piece. Luckily, Dave did the old archive move, so we're not giving him any actual traffic, so we don't have to worry about paying the J. We'll keep that one to ourselves. So let's go through this. So this is from Josh Hammer. It says, "Tucker Carlson just hit a new low with his heinous betrayal." Oh, actually, never mind. Back up. I'm sorry. I'm not ready to go full reveal into the article yet because it gets even better. Now, I actually want to do the controversy before we go into the article so we can kind of see where people are. And then we'll be like, oh, do they look ridiculous? Are they being retarded? All right. Now, let's get into this one. Now, what was the response from Josh Hammer? It goes, "One has to be truly stupid or willfully disingenuous, or both, as the case may be, to think that neutralize here means anything other than its most common usages. Quit lying." And then here he posted neutralize. And then the definitions being here, one, or it says verb used with object, neutralize or neutralizing. One, to make neutral, cause, to undergo neutralization. Two, to make something ineffective, counteract, nullify. Example, carelessness that neutralized our efforts. This was in his response to Jason Whitlock, who got in on this, saying Josh Hammer calls for Tucker Carlson to be neutralized. He says on Monday morning, the most dangerous man in America, Tucker, sat to interview a confused millennial. The fox, Tucker, is now comfortably ensconced in the henhouse. And unless the fox is neutralized, the victim could be the entire extant GOP coalition itself. I'll be honest, that sentence picked out seems pretty threatening. So I guess we'll come back to that in a second. But a little bit, so he dropped that definition. So it seems pretty, I guess technically he's right. You neutralize, he's right. That's what the dictionary says. Well, community notes for the win again. It says Josh provided a screenshot from dictionary.com and cropped out the full context. The third point highlights how neutralize is used by the military. So now if we go over to dictionary.com, where he very clearly copied this from, so because we can see a word for word, see neutralize, look, especially British neutralize or whatever, which I guess it's a little bit different there. It presents a little bit different on my page, so maybe you can cut that piece out. Whatever. I know, maybe it's not the same one. Maybe his page looks different for some reason. But either way, one, to make neutral. Two, to make something ineffective. Three, military, to put out of action or make incapable of action, which obviously that's the boom boom meeting. That's you're gone. Hell, even then number 4 doesn't help either. Declared neutral, invest with neutrality, to exempt from involvement during never mind. Actually, that one is different. That's that's actually like making an area neutral. I thought they were saying like neutralizing a larger area. But yeah, so the third definition is the definition. So it heavily implies he almost certainly had to clip that out. And then we also have Jason pointing out here kind of to this. He didn't catch that one yet, but he points out, you start an article calling Tucker Carlson the most dangerous man in America and close the same article saying Tucker Carlson needs to be neutralized. Who's willfully disingenuous? Every knee will bow. Well, all right, let's go through the article together and kind of form an opinion on what we think. Is it that bad? Are they being dramatic? Let's find out together. So on Monday evening, the most dangerous man in America sat to interview a confused millennial. The pair, who for months had been regaling masses with a bit of low-rent turf war kayfabe, implying the other was an undercover federal agent, decided to drop the faux hatchet once and for all. Oh my God, this is just so gaily written. They did so not necessarily because they cared for one another, but because of their shared passion for tackling a mutual foe, Western civilization, which for millennia has claimed the Hebrew Bible as its preeminent moral and legal wellspring. God, this guy, you can tell he's exhausting to be around. I mean, anytime you see him talk, you see him write, just the way he is. I don't even really know how to describe it. They're just awful. Just to be clear, I'm not talking about George Soros and Hassan Piker. This was a chat. Never mind. Did I actually skip a paragraph? They did so not necessarily because they care for one another, because of their shared passion for tackling a mutual foe. Western civilization, which for millennia has claimed the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament, as its preeminent moral and legal wellspring. That's funny, considering modern Jews probably don't really rely all that much on the Old Testament. Just to be clear, I'm not talking about George Soros and Hassan Piker. This was a chat between the erstwhile king of cable news, Tucker Carlson, and Nick Fuentes, the loquacious Holocaust denier who's been leading anti-Semitic provocateur since he first burst onto the political commentary scene a decade ago. Wow, I just realized there's only 41 shares on this. It's kind of sad. I don't know. I feel like there should be more on a piece like this, especially as much as it's been shared. I feel like people are apt to even want to share it just because they're like, fuck this dude. Anyways, this is a chat between, Fuentes, perhaps most infamous for a 2019 rant wherein he analogized Jews massacred by the Nazis to the Sesame Street character Cookie Monster, baking cookies in an oven in an attempt to explain why 6 million dead Jews at the hand of the Nazis just doesn't make sense. Stayed true to his form during the Carlson interview, which, by the way, I remember seeing that and it was hilarious. So I'm pretty sure he was actually like reading a meme, so it wasn't even really like his original idea, which, I mean, whatever, if it was his original idea, he would have had an original little hilarious idea. At various points, Fuentes mused about the evils of organized Jewry and contended that discredited neoconservative cannot be divorced from Jewishness. The host's response, in turn, was so fawning that it amounted to a laundering of Fuentes' repugnant beliefs. Fuentes, who has personally called me filth and said that Jews like me and broadcaster Mark Levin are not American and do not belong here, predictably claimed yet again on Carlson's show that American Jews put the interests of Israel over the interests of their own country. Okay. It's a monstrous, destructive lie. He claimed that Jews hate Europeans because the Romans destroyed the temple in Jerusalem 2 millennia ago. It's simply preposterous. I don't know. You listen to some like really Jewy people. I've gotten on some of those weird rabbit holes where they do get. I don't know. There's some truth to that. Where I don't know what it is about Judaism, or maybe certain Jews. Maybe it's just like rabbinical types. They get really fucking uppity about like some of that ancient. These ancient grudges. They're like, well, the Romans fucking like they hate their ass. Like just weird shit like that. But whatever. I digress. He probably has a little bit of truth for the common Jew. The common J, the everyday J, like they probably don't give a fuck about Rome. But the Jewish people themselves only represent the tip of the spear for what the Carlson-Fuentes cabal represents. Carlson personally saved his most seething hatred for his fellow Christians, and those of a Zionist disposition in particular. Good, fair. In particular, specifically, Carlson said that Christian Zionists are dangerous heretics and that he despises them more than anyone else on earth. Certainly more than the Sharia law proponents on whose behalf Carlson has taken, curiously, to offering meek apologia. Okay. Ironically, it's Carlson himself who is a Christian heretic. In an August podcast episode, Carlson confessed to his guests, Cliff Knechtel, a decades-long pastor, that he just read his Bible's Old Testament for the first time last year. And he was shocked by the violence and genocide he encountered therein. Yeah. I mean, what? Yeah. Okay. The pastor, due to his familiarity with neophytes and having read the Bible prior to his mid-50s, didn't take the bait. As I noticed last month, the contention that the God of the Hebrew Bible is not the God of the New Testament is quite literally heretical on Christianity's own term, which I don't even think, what the fuck? This is such a fucking reach, such an ass pull for someone. I mean, I don't know. I'm not Christian, but I understand a lot of them have a lot of different denominations, different beliefs on what relation Christ filled in relation to the old law, and like, did he fulfill it? Did he change it? Did he whatever? And so I don't know, what a weird way to take that kind of concept and kind of, I mean, obviously I don't know this episode he's talking about or what exactly Carlson said or how he framed it, but like, yeah, I mean, it's very, very clear. Like, I don't even know how anyone could not look at, how could you not be shocked by the violence and genocide encountered in the Old Testament? It just, are you not familiar? I mean, maybe I'm more familiar than most, but like, I mean, I grew up in Christian school. I went to Christian school until I left Maine. So like I had a couple of years in public school when I was really little, but like, I don't know, from like third, fourth, something grade till like sophomore year in high school, I was in Christian school. Yeah. The Old Testament is just jam packed of just, I guess you can frame it as like, I mean, if you don't have the Jews are the good guys in there, if you aren't bending over backwards in a lot of cases to excuse them, you'd be hard pressed to say they're the good guys or to look at it to say anything other than that. Like, there definitely is violence and genocide in the Old Testament. I just don't even know how you can really get around it. The way that's gone around is typically, oh well, that was God's will. They were Nephilim or something, but it's there. You need to find a way to deal with it. But what a weird angle of attack. And there's a whole assortment of different beliefs in Christianity, how they find to, come to terms of that, whether that's, I don't know, but yeah, and how that relates to the old law that doesn't necessarily, you're going full fucking Gnostic. And now you're like, literally, this is a different entity. If it did, I mean, whatever. I don't have any problem with people who do that, but I just think it's such a reach. And anyone with any sort of semblance in a religious or Christian doctrine or footing in religious doctrine should be like, what are you talking about? Anyways, as I noticed last month, the contention of the God of the... it in fact is Martianism, the fringe doctrine. There are two gods, a vengeful Old Testament God and a benevolent God revealed through Jesus Christ. Make no mistake, there's a sprawling information operation afoot that has its goal, the fracturing of the ecumenical Jewish Christian biblical alliance that long ago built, in which can alone sustain Western civilization, and that civilization's leading light, the United States. The operation has its leading objectives: the distancing of evangelical Christians from the Jewish people and the distancing of the United States from Israel. The operatives are cheering on the West's Islamist and globalist enemies, whether they care to admit it or not. Carlson is their leading, which, like, what a stupid way to look at it. Just be like, well, it's like, this is what they have to like dumb things down to whole groups like this, and this is why they do like, oh, the Islamists, which, like, sure, I'm not a fan of like the Islam, but I don't know, it's just such a, I don't know, whatever. Carlson is their leading propagandist, and Fuentes an opportunist clicks chasers along for the ride. One man who is decidedly not along for this hellish jaunt was someone Carlson now has the audacity to purport to represent and memorialize, which is ironic, but this is literally exactly what Josh Hammer is doing right now. He is having the audacity to purport to represent and memorialize what Charlie Kirk believes. My late friend and a noted Christian Zionist, Charlie Kirk, which he was on record after Charlie's death saying all sorts of statements on the nature of his relation to Israel, knowing full fucking well that he had, like, 24 hours or less prior, had informed him that, I have to leave the cause. So keep in mind, this is who you're getting this information from. Perhaps no one in America despised Nick Fuentes more than Kirk. Fuentes fomented Kirk and his now widow Erica for years on end over the fact Kirk would not allow Fuentes to return Kirk's Turning Point USA conferences. And you know what? His fucking audience gave him shit for it because that was completely discordant to what he presented himself as. So what are you getting? What is your point here? Like, do you want the ideal of Charlie Kirk, or do you want us to like somehow his down, like where his failings, where he did not seem to measure up to his ideals? Is that where we're going to stick with? I don't know. It's just all sort of silly to me. In his final months, Kirk's hostility towards Fuentes only hardened. He was horrified to see this raging bigot gain traction in right-of-center circles, something he privately confided in me and a few others. The funny thing, he's been done nothing lately other than kind of be soft on his message, which I don't know. I mean, people are always going on about the racism of Fuentes and stuff, and anytime I've ever really looked into it, which I know never like I've done a huge deep dive, it's all just been kind of jokes and kind of mostly pretty harmless, or like, who gives a fuck? Like, yeah, he might be like, I don't like it. Okay, but what does he want to do about that? Now, if you have this like mind virus that like anyone who says they have preferences towards different groups or another is therefore a bigot, and now we must like ostracize them and have nothing to do with them, and they're like unpersoned, and that's somehow worse than like, I don't know, like actual violence or something. Yeah, it's bizarre. As our Salem Podcast Network colleague Dinesh D'Souza revealed yesterday, Kirk was livid at D'Souza for recently deigning to debate Fuentes. Kirk called Fuentes vermin. None of this is news to me. Kirk himself had encouraged me to express to D'Souza my own frustrations. I neglected to do so for the very simple reason that D'Souza, why the fuck am I, D'Souza, why am I struggling with his name, so thoroughly and effectively skewered Fuentes in their debate. I didn't watch that. I have no opinion on it. I doubt it, but I have no opinion on that. But I have no doubt that Kirk is now rolling his grave after Carlson's latest stunning act of anti-Western subjugation and personal betrayal. Carlson, Fuentes, Candace Owens, and their entire disreputable ilk are capable of acknowledging that American might simply support the Jewish people because he sees in the Jews the origins of monotheism and thus all Western morality. They refuse to concede that an American might support close-knit U.S.-Israel relations, not due to moral or financial blackmail, but due to an earnest assessment that the alliance furthers American interests. They can't bring themselves to admit such basic points because to do so would undermine the assertion that has become most foundational to their fetid worldview. The Jews are responsible for all of America's ills, and America must therefore abandon them. In order for this to happen, it is not that the statistically insignificant Jews must necessarily come to loathe themselves, but that those statistically very significant Christians must come to loathe the Jews. This looks like a war on MAGA and the modern American right. That's because that is exactly what it is. Carlson and his clan have declared their jihad not on the woke forces of civilizational arson on the addled brained left, but on the forces of civilizational sanity on the MAGA right. They hope to burn down MAGA and build a neo-pagan, anti-Western, anti-biblical movement in its stead. The fox is now comfortably ensconced in the henhouse. Unless the fox is neutralized, the victim could be the entire GOP coalition itself. All right, well, I have some harsh news. I actually think they're being really fucking gay about this. Like, really fucking gay. Like, super duper duper fucking gay. I don't know. Yeah, sure, maybe not the greatest word placement. And I also, while me being a kind of a conspiracy-minded person, I am completely open to the idea that if I had some J decoder ring here, that I could be like, oh yeah, this is clearly a call from him to his handlers to be like, it's a go. Green team, go, move in now. Like it could be that. I don't fucking know. But like, what do we have here? He used some harsh language. Yeah, neutralize maybe a little bit on the hard end. But yeah, I'm sorry. It's really gay. I don't like this guy, and I actually set this up ready to be like, yeah, fuck him. He's clearly, but like, yeah, this is, sorry, really gay, guys. Do better. There was so much better in here to attack on. He was being such a little fucking faggot in here, and yet you choose to go on that he may have made a hit, and it looks sloppy, and it looks stupid. It really does. I don't know. If anything, I'm kind of honestly a little annoyed. Maybe I'm missing something here. You tell me, chat. I'm a little annoyed. I'm a little annoyed by, like, my side, I guess you could say. Maybe some of these people are a little bit extra sensitive because, to be fair to be very fair, I can understand why those people, some of the individuals seated at a higher level in the influence game that have been notably anti-Zionist, I 100% understand why you might be a little bit touchy about these sort of things. But then the problem becomes when someone like me looks into this, or anyone that's trying to look at this with good faith and willing to, while I fucking hate this guy and I don't want to give him good faith whatsoever, yeah, it's super fucking weak. It just kind of makes you look, for all those people who go, oh, Candace is being crazy, she looks crazy. Well, it kind of makes it look, it gives credit to this. Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, tag whoever, tell them it's the case. I'm sorry. A lot of these people are like, this feels really gay to me. And I don't think it's smart. I think it's really, really dumb. Like, you had other things you could have attacked if you were trying to play the informational war. But if anything, I feel like, you kind of, I mean, not necessarily that it was like intentional or either, but almost the bait, I guess you could say. Like, you fell onto the, were you trying to, I don't know how to say he did that. It would have been crazy. But it's just kind of, I don't know. This seems dumb to me. All right, let's roll through the chat, and then we'll get through the next topic. I'm curious what you guys think. Am I off here? Am I crazy? I mean, like, once again, I'm totally open to that. This is like this is essentially, a call out to his handlers, like, hey, we got to do the thing, or whatever. But I'm totally open to, like, I think this guy probably should be investigated by the FBI. I am honestly, if anything, I would put money on the fact that this guy is some sort of foreign agent. So, like, but I'm just saying, if you're in that information game and you're trying to do battle in the game of ideas, I think that's a misstep. I think it's that's a very big misstep, and it makes you look a little dramatic. It makes you look foolish, kind of undercuts at your credibility. It does. I don't know. Let's roll the chat. I'm really interested in what you guys got to say. So, I don't know. We'll have to check up. Good morning, Tower Gang MPC. Man, we got like 20 minutes of chats to go through, though, so I might have to skip a bunch of them. It says, well, his arms are large, and so his lats. His audience is not large. Yep. Josh the pussy merchant greater than Josh the Hebrew hammer. Yep. Man, if only I just became a J. Like, all I have to do is, like, murder and I just have to, like, consume blood or evil in some way, and then, like, my power would just be unreal. Like, Josh Hammer would grovel at my feet. I just got to, it was like a mass shooting or something. I think they all ascend into their Jadum after that. I don't know what the transfer rate is to attain one each J these days. Obviously, it's a joke. Good morning, everybody. Who else we got in here? Nevsky says they rely on the Talmud's interpretation of the Old Testament. We got a religious argument in the chat. Nice. Theodore Hitchcock says not even the Jewish Jews can handle Josh Hammer. By the way, what's his real last name? I don't know. There's no way it's Hammer, though. Yeah, just like Theodore said, we know it's not Hammer. There's no way. Because a hammer is one of the most Chad of the hand tools. It is pretty Chad hand tool. Good morning, Shayuan. Good morning. Good morning. Bug Fights is called Cookie Math, and it literally does disprove 6 million. If you say so, probably. I wouldn't be surprised at all. The only true part of Josh's article is that the Nick and Charlie beef, says Theodore. Scrolling through, seeing almost the point where I'm curious what you guys think. Let me see. Theodore says Jose is 100% right. I believe it's been pulling us down a level because if this article was written about Josh, he would be whining like none other, and that's us being just like them. Yeah. You're not crazy, Jose. Also, Jodie Foster wants you to shoot Ronald Reagan. When all you have is a hammer, all you see is a J. All right. Wasn't there a character, the Jewish Hammer? Well, I know isn't that what they call Randy Fine? I think they call Randy Fine the Jewish Hammer. I think that's like his nickname, I believe, if I recall correctly. All right. I don't know. I hope to hear more from you guys. Drop in the chat what you guys think about my take there. I'm curious because I do feel like, it was very stupid. And I'm like kind of a little irritated by this. A little foolish. People are falling into some foolish feminine behavior, it feels like, hopefully they can correct it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's also like you never know how information moves around. Because, I mean, how many of these people read the whole article before they decide to then go give their take on it? A lot of these guys are probably in group chats with a lot of these other guys. So there's all these other influencers who are, a little bit concerned about the old possibility of getting Kirked. And now they're all talking amongst each other, kind of working each other up into a tizzy. And as I said, once again, I'm completely open to the idea that that is exactly what that thing is. That article is exactly that. It could be 100% that. But we don't fucking know that. We don't know that. And I 100% get if you're like, I think this is about me. I think they're saying something like that you would be a little bit worked up and kind of want to be like, everyone fucking look at this. But at the same time, it's also not really that solid, unfortunately. So, all right, on to more on the Kirk side of things. This is more into the Kirk side of things. That's more just about just tearing down Hammer because he sucks. But unfortunately, ended up, kind of. I don't know. I hate it. I hate coming to the end of a thing and then my nemesis. I have to. I guess I don't know if it's say come to his aid. But if anything, I'm saying this not because I want to come to my nemesis's aid. I just wanted you guys to be more effective in destroying our nemesises. Is essentially what it is. So, and I feel like this is a misstep, and don't do that. But all right, kind of moving into the Disinfo agent kind of realm of talk. So here is from the this is a story. Says Kash Patel reportedly. Why am I stumbling with words so much? Reportedly confronted counterterrorism chief Joe Kent after Kent reviewed the FBI files to probe possible foreign ties to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Let's read a little bit more about this. This is from this is over at Daily Mail. We'll read a few paragraphs from this again. Okay, Daily Mail again, wild. So FBI Director Kash Patel crushed efforts by Gabbard's closest advisor to see if a foreign power was involved in Kirk's assassination. The head of the National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent, analyzed FBI files to determine whether Kirk's alleged killer received assistance from a foreign power. Kent's investigation alarmed Patel, who believed the counterterrorism chief was overstepping by interfering with an ongoing investigation, according to the New York Times. So bear in mind, sources say story, full, whatever. Kirk was shot in the throat by a high-powered sniper rifle. Okay. While speaking to college students at Utah Valley University on September 10th. Tyler Robinson, 22, was charged with the murder and now faces the death penalty if found guilty. The Times spoke with supporters of Kent who claim he was doing his job by chasing down any leads to ensure no foreign groups were involved in Kirk's death. After Patel discovered Kent had gone through FBI case material related to the Kirk killing, a tense White House meeting was held to discuss the matter. A roundtable meeting between Patel, Kent, Gabbard, J.D. Vance, Susie Wiles, which is a White House chief of staff, and senior DOJ officials was held at the White House. Kent told administration officials that he was granted access to FBI files by a low-ranking agency official. Trump administration officials were worried that Kent's probe into foreign interference could provide ammunition to Robinson's defense lawyers, who could then argue more than one suspect was involved in Kirk's murder. The FBI and DOJ have traditionally tightly regulated evidence in active criminal investigations and prosecutions. Under the direction of Kent, the Counterterrorism Center collected material from other intelligence agencies regarding potential foreign ties to Robinson, as well as evaluated any potential foreign funding from individuals associated with left-wing groups such as Antifa. There have been long-standing issues regarding jurisdiction between Gabbard's office and the FBI. It is not clear that the FBI or counterterrorism is still investigating whether a foreign power assisted in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Well, what foreign power could we be talking about, do you think? I don't know. What do you guys think? Dang it. Right when I'm trying to set up a clip, and of course, StreamYard's jacked. I guess I couldn't expect it to be ready after this long. It never is. All right, let's... Second, let me see. Let's watch this. Makes you kind of wonder who could have done this.
Surprises?
Yeah.
Like intelligence surprises?
Pages, walkie-talkies. Do you know how many treated equipment we have in these countries? You don't. I do.
You mean
I do.
You mean booby-trapped equipment?
Not only booby-trapped.
And spying?
Manipulated equipment. All right?
In which countries are you talking about?
All the countries that you can imagine.
And not Gaza?
Not Gaza.
Nothing in Gaza at all.
Did you see that? If we had it, I mean, we knew something about them coming. Something, right? Would have sold them everything. Just everything. I mean, you can't imagine the quantity. When I have invented that method, that was in 2002 to 2004.
The pager method.
The manipulated equipment method. Okay? We have already used it. Manipulated equipment. In Second Lebanon War, some of the elements were speaking to us.
How did you use it?
Want a glass of water?
We can get some brandy.
He can tell you, but he doesn't.
I know it's an early morning in London. I mean, I don't think that is the case. But how did we do it? I tell you. Did you see this?
All right, if you guys caught that, that's him bragging about the degree to which they've manipulated or they've infiltrated tech in all sorts of different countries, referencing the pager attacks. Obviously, that makes many of us wonder, hey, what the fuck is going on with these doodads? Could be anything going on there. Always make sure this is why, people are like, oh, it's crazy looking at all these exotic weapons as possibilities in the Kirk killing. Well, I don't know. When you're telling the world, when you're telling everyone that the world's a stage and that you're the directors, well, don't be surprised when we start getting a little bit concerned that this might be a stage production. And speaking of such, kind of the next story here. Looks like we may have caught a Disinfo agent here. Now, this is actually something we covered on the show the other day. You guys may remember this guy. Play this real quick so you can it jogs your memory.
So originally, when I sent this video into the FIB.
You're not going to game violence. Great.
For tips, I thought I was doing a service and, to Charlie and helping out. So it started off where I got in contact and talking to someone at the local field office there in my local state. And then it jumped up a few levels. Then I was talking to someone on like the national level. That person had called me back and they had said, because this was your friend, I think it's best that you erase the video from your phone because it's just going to be PTSD. And then I called it another time to ask if I erased it. That was the first time that I felt like it was even right to post these videos. That was on my other account that was gone and this was removed after 5 years of doing it. But so I got a call back and was asked to confirm that it was gone. And again, that's when I started sharing, posting, and saving on many different hard drives in many different places.
All right, so this guy, you guys might remember this story. It's a guy who claimed that he came to the FBI with some footage, and they said, oh, you should delete that for your mental health or whatever. And I remember even we were talking about it, and I kind of was like, hey, just clearly, we know kind of what we know. I mean, this could be just bullshit. I mean, I don't know. This could be, how do we know that this is actually what they said? We're just taking his word for it entirely. Well, a good account I've been following recently, Piper _truth, which, whatever they're in person, once again, I can't confirm their stuff, so, verify everything, never outsource your thinking. But this person goes, hey, Ryan's time, which is their account, because I used to have a Twitter account. I said, were you physically at the Charlie Kirk event at UVU on 9/10/25? Think carefully before responding. Now is the time to clear the air. He goes, now this other account is the original source. This is this guy, Cub Keller, for the videos Ryan has claimed to be his. It's a good thing. This other account, Chris Friel, is asking verification requests or questions. And so we have people asking these questions. And so now we look through this person. This person, Piper, took some screenshots. So this Cub person, in another interaction saying, oh, I was confused as well. I didn't know till just the other day Ryan was using my videos saying they were his. I like the guy, and it is what it is, but makes sense now why people have been confused. And then we go, and then here's another one. And then here's this turn CNN $25,000 truth greater than cash. What does this mean? Somebody said John Shreds is the person asking him, and essentially, I guess he had said something about turning down money for this or whatever. He says that I would rather have the truth out there than money for the full rights to my video. So there he goes saying my video. So we have Piper asking, hey, what the hell? Somebody else is saying it's not your video. Also, 2 out of 3 says are the videos you have claimed. as your own, actually your videos? Did the FBI really contact you? Did they tell you any of the accounts on social media that you sent the videos to that they in fact weren't yours? If you did, which account specifically? He goes, here are the links for his original videos. Cub Keller, I'll give him a follow. Oh shit, didn't mean to do that. What did I just do? Crap, give me a second. I might have to go back. I think I lost my place in the thread. Oh, here we go. And then here are the links for this guy's videos. You can also find a cloud link here. He gives the links. This guy, and then all right. Now, what is the response? So now we get a response here from Ryan. So he goes, no, I wasn't, which is why I tagged Cub and Mark. So he's saying, no, I wasn't there. So he's admitting he was not even there at the event, admitting it's not his footage, which is why I tagged Cub and Mark. Go to my videos on X from the start. I tagged the people who I know and they belong to. Yes, I submitted my bro-in-laws to the FBI. Yes, I was told good for my mental well-being to remove them. Still, I helped get these out because it's important they are seen. And then another one. And then here he is, kind of where, remember he had said he wasn't there. Now he's saying he wasn't there after being caught like red-handed because a bunch of people saying, oh, he wasn't there. And then now you see this one from, a couple weeks ago in a tweet where he tweeted a few people. He says, this was also my Cub. You'll see me in here with a black backpack and a Red Bull. So he's literally claiming to be a person in the crowd in a different instance. So a little bit concerning. And also here's another instance on the 20th where he's saying it's actually from my original video I filmed and posted. So more of that. Yeah. And so Piper says, thank you for clarifying. You were not at the Charlie Kirk event. On 10/19, why did you point out a person and say it was you? On 10/20, why say you filmed it? Thank you for answering about being there or not and about the FBI. And then more on this, Piper saying again, Rhines was not at Charlie Kirk's event on UVU. After I asked him, he admitted he was not there. Shortly after, his X account is blank, which is true. If you go follow any of these things, you can see because they were tagging initially. So we can go to this thing. The link's broken. I can't click on it. That account used to exist. We can see through these screenshots it used to exist, and it no longer exists. So you can see here something went wrong. If we were to type that in, that's exactly what it looked like for us. And then, so then there's, proof of that again. So yeah, wild stuff. I mean, there's some interesting stuff too. If you dig through some of these things, let me see. There's a TikTok. I don't know if we're able to watch TikTok. Video currently unavailable. Oh, geez, that's weird. The TikTok video he supposedly had seems to no longer exist. It's currently unavailable. That's weird. Sorry, I think I actually exited out of it. I don't know if that just happened or when that happened. But yeah. Sorry, back in it. Damn it, I didn't mean to do that. Here we go. All right. So here we go. All right, and then here we go. Somebody else says, we asked him, and he continued to say he was until he was caught. Gotta love a screen recording. Some more people in the replies. Someone saying, didn't his name show up in the Cayman searches, which I haven't checked out that. But yeah, anyways, particularly interesting that looks like we may have caught someone pretty goddamn red-handed. I'm open to hearing other explanations. All right, let's roll through the chat, and then we'll get to our last story of the day, the 764 segments. And let's see what all you guys got to say. I'm curious to hear more about what you guys think about the whole Josh Hammer thing. I'm looking like I stepped out of a Nitzer, Ebb, or Front 242 music video today. Those are some deep references I don't get. Good morning, Fire Pixie. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, PJ. Or good morning, PJR. Knife Safety says Michael Malice made jokes about little Lebanese girls getting blown up by pagers. I mean, I'd have to hear the jokes if they were funny, but I mean, I'm not against I'm not against dark humor, but yeah. NFC says Jews aren't masters of the universe, but they would love for you to believe that. Yes, that's exactly why I like bringing up the Josh Hammer thing over and over again. While they would like to think they can control everything, well, the one thing they'll never be able to do is control your love. I get that freely from you guys. You guys give that to me. That's what sustains me. I don't need to turn to the Dark Lord to do that. I get your love. That's what I get, all right? All right, let's, what else we got? I'm surprised no one had more thoughts about my hammer takes. You guys seem to, I don't know. Gerald says, Jose, why are you gay? We never think about that one. It's a good point. Good morning, Wise Out. Good morning. Good morning. Justin says, they don't have to recruit Disinfo agents. They just pop out of the woodwork naturally now. Yeah, I mean, it's also like whether this guy was part of agents, it could just be some guy clout chasing, although that's pretty wild. I mean, I do remember one thing I thought was interesting. I remember when we were covering it, I think the other day, he was talking about how he had lost his like YouTube account or something, and like so implying he lost some. Which it's not all that uncommon. You hear about some influencers who get their accounts taken down for this or that, and then they'll be like, "It was for this," and they make a whole thing out of it. So my point being, or they kind of use it to kind of I don't know. So my point being is I don't even necessarily know whether he got a thing removed or not. But he did mention kind of being a smaller influencer, it seems. So there's some building blocks for like a self-serving, element to it. Although I don't know, it's very weird to me. Good morning, Mustache. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you here. Looking forward to whenever our episode drops. If Jose spent less time worrying about his hair, more time worrying about downloading and recording these videos, maybe it wouldn't be a problem that the videos get scrubbed. What videos getting scrubbed? What are you talking about? Let me see. Mustache is a Street Beefs YouTube fight where a dude named the Jewish Hammer gets knocked out. I love it. That's what I think of Josh Hammer. Yeah, not a fan. I'm really astounded. I thought I had kind of it seemed like everyone online is thinking that Josh Hammer is calling out hits and they're jumping on it unthinkingly, which I don't know, maybe once again, very well could be. I just feel like running with that might look a little silly. All right, let's get into the 764, kind of a bridge from one to the other. I probably actually meant to cover this in the Kirk segment, but this kind of I also intended this to be the segue from one to the other. This is one of the followers of the show here, which I remember them sent me something once before, and I think I tagged and meant to cover. I forget exactly what it was, but either way. This is universal blue artwork. I hope you don't mind me sharing your name, but I assume you're posting publicly that you're fine with it. You're not using your name or anything anyways. He says, "Hey dude, listening to your coverage about what Turkey Tom had to say." So this is my coverage the other day, the crazy bussy episode that I covered the other day, kind of going over Twigs and the craziness that he purportedly descended into. So he says, listening to your coverage about what Turkey Tom had to say. I've been in the furry fandom since 1998, and I've known guys like Lance since forever. They were rare horror stories in the early 2000s, and I remember a lot of them by name. So we've got a furry fan. Everyone be nice. I have no judgment here. Okay, I'm not going to lie, I judge a little bit. But you could do what you do. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. But it is, hey, we're getting some inside information. He says, I've watched as each generation gets more like them until today, where the average furry idol is exactly that degenerate. The peak started around 2016 to 2017, where it felt like 90% of the population was rabid, retarded leftists who can't hold down a job. The type that screamed you down and got admin support because they either are the admin or are sleeping with them. I still love many of my friends from the old days, but today they are 100% ideologically captured, and even if they can see reason, they would lose their base of income in a heartbeat if they disagreed with the message. TM. Being always inclusive has led to an arms race to the death where each generation must be more degenerate than the last to be unique and is fertile ground for ever-increasing extremism. Just keep in mind, I'm a not safe for work artist. I admit my own forms of degeneracy, and yet I find what has become commonplace today to be pure nihilistic 769, probably means 764 fetishism. Unless 769 is something I'm not aware of. But bear that in mind, I did mention this is he does do, I believe, some sort of naughty something or other. I do follow him, but I do believe I remember looking through his account once, like, oh, okay, well, there's that there. So he did mention he's some sort of artist of some sort, so I do think he's one of those like furry porn accounts or something like that. But either way, inside information from the furry community. And you know what? I 100% agree with him. I do think that is probably what is happening in these communities. What I was kind of driving at, not that I'm saying this guy is saying otherwise, but what I was kind of getting at yesterday is what firm ground do we have to know this is the case? And not much. We didn't get any names. It's completely believable, the story that we were given about Lance Twiggs. It's just the problem is I can't run with it unless I have solid information. I cannot accept that in my head. I mean, I can use that as like a running idea, as like something to run off of, as like a possibility, like if this, then that. Like if we're dealing with the crazy Twiggs, line of thinking. But unfortunately, it's just like a possible, path essentially in my head right now. I can't put too much into that because all we have is some dude told Turkey Tom some stuff. Some dude we don't know, but Turkey Tom told us that the dude has a connection because somehow he confirmed it. That's it. So but yeah, I'm not saying that's the case. I don't, just for anyone who got a misunderstanding there, but there definitely obviously is some legitimate component to all of this. And kind of in that vein, let's talk a little bit about 764. Apparently the FBI is catching on to the threat, as they kind of have in the past before. We've talked about this. But here's Representative Anna Paulina Luna saying, after raising awareness about the violent cult group 764, I've received more disturbing information from a BBC journalist who has created an extensive podcast on the topic. Parents, please use this as a research to educate yourself on this rising threat to your children. Now, I don't know anything about this show, so I can't really vouch for it one way or the other. This is a creation of a teenage Satanist on the BBC from their podcast. Well, came in swinging, said, you want some disturbing information? An undercover FBI agent infiltrated 764 2 years before the group was even publicly known, yet records don't show him making any cases. What was he doing that entire time? And what he's showing here is one of the footnotes from one of his articles, and it shows a picture of one of the 764 people. It says, additionally, on or about November 14th, 2021, an FBI employee acting in an undercover capacity online obtained the below photographs from a Telegram channel called Rapecast. The photographs were posted anonymously, so he somehow had managed to get into the Telegram they called Rapecast. Keep in mind, this is 764, where they are they're grooming children to send them self-harm videos and CSAM. That's the sort of things they're trying to do. And we had the FBI infiltrated this 2 years prior to it, us starting to get a string of arrests on the national stage. So we are to believe it took them 2 years, despite the fact they somehow had already cracked into one of their telegrams at this point in time. So just saying. And then once you start looking into the roots of 764, it gets a little bit concerning. Here is a piece, one I've been wanting to cover for a while. Here's a R.J. Morrow, a good follow for those who like this sort of random stuff to hit your page, these sort of info dumps. Here he is saying, David Myatt, founder of the 09A, was a member of Column 88, a Gladio paramilitary group run by British intelligence. His group promotes and instructs members to infiltrate institutions like the police or neo-Nazi cells to sow chaos to accelerate an apocalyptic race war. Now, David Myatt is, like I said, the founder of 09A. Many people claim 764 is one of the many offshoots of 09A, because when you understand 09A and the belief system, they have, they believe they call them like Nexiums, or I forget what they call them, but they have offshoots. Literally the way this ideology or philosophy, I guess, is formed, is the structure of it, is that it allows for offshoots that follow a similar belief, but are kind of like an off, because it's all about accelerationism, baby. That's what it's about, making things crazier. And so they just kind of have to find someone that somewhat comports into it, kind of a, so you end up having this like kind of dribble down effect where, this thing spouts off and this thing, and that thing spouts off and this thing. And the next thing you know, we have 764. So if you follow this along, it literally started as a Gladio paramilitary group, Column 88, descends into 09A, and now we have things like 764, Calm, and all sorts of other different things that many people purport to be of. Temple of Blood. This is where most people draw the through line, is through the Temple of Blood connection with Josh Sutter. But yeah, anyways. So he provides here some literature to back it up. Says the story gets even stranger when we consider another UK-based white supremacist group, the Order of the Nine Angles. Nine again, Order again, and in the UK, the O9A is an occult satanic organization. They would call it numinous and sinister organization. The O9A has been around since the 1970s and has always been notorious, but managed to utilize the internet to greatly increase the scope of their propaganda in the early 2000s. The O9A is famous for and indeed believes specifically in adopting completely the lifestyle of other people for at least 18 months in order to gain philosophical and spiritual insight. This practice is called adopting an insight role. I actually never knew about that. That's something new. That sounds like some intelligence behavior. In particular, they encourage to take on roles in various groups, including the military, the police, neo-Nazi groups, feminist groups, environmentalist groups, churches, etc. They're encouraged then to become as extreme as possible in that group, and once ingratiated, sow discord and chaos, converting members to the O9A. They believe this process will make them mentally and spiritually robust, at the same time that these acts will help bring about the destruction of a Magian society. Now, you can guys see what I'm getting at here, like the building blocks. You see this O9A thing had more of a grander idea on like a institutional level, but if you kind of dribble down from there and you go, okay, now we have this other subgroup. Now this is devolved to infiltrating this other sphere. And so this, you kind of have this other offshoot of O9A. So you can kind of see what I mean. Well, it's like, while the 764 isn't exactly O9A, it's very similar in the beliefs, if in a sense. Magian society loosely translates as Jewish society. Once destroyed in apocalyptic conflict, the order will be able to establish a galactic imperium. This idea is what is known as the sinister dialectic. So the group, so now Combat 18 also had links. Now this is a separate thing. This is, all right, now, let me back up. The group was formed and led by an unknown individual named Anton Long, who many suspect is David Myatt, because he has like a bajillion aliases. It's worth noting there is debate on his identity as Anton Long, with respectable scholars on both sides. David Myatt is a well-known British white supremacist who, like Jim Dawson, was once involved with the BNP. Dawson as a funder and member, Myatt as the militant leader of Combat 18, a group set to defend the BNP. Combat 18 also had links to Eastern European neo-Nazis through another associated Nazi group, Blood and Honor. Myatt was also a member of Column 88, who, according to several authors, were set up under Operation Gladio. Operation Gladio is the name given to the well-known stay-behind operations where intelligence services funded mostly far-right militias in order to defend from the supposed threat of communist invasion in Europe after World War II. In fact, the groups funded served to disrupt socialism in Europe. Myatt also has links to loyalists in Northern Ireland and loyalist football hooligans in Britain. But anyways, now it gets into connections and stuff, but I thought that would be interesting. Also, let's touch a little bit on the satanic component of O9A. So in Nicholas Goodrick Clark's Black Sun, a chapter details how David Myatt fused Michael Aquino's esoteric Satanism with a violent Nazi ideology to create the extremist Order of Nine Angles. So in 1975, Michael Aquino, a major in the U.S. Army Reserve and a Magister Template of the main cult, led a major rebellion against Anton LaVey's authority. Together with Lilith Sinclair, the New York Grotto leader, he carried a majority of the church's membership into his new religious organization called the Temple of Set. Dedicated to Set, the ancient Egyptian deity believed to have provided the model for the Satan of Christian belief, Aquino's cult offered a more occult and intellectual form of Satanism than the theatrical posturings of the Church of Satan. While LaVey simply saw Satan as a symbol of man's egoism, Aquino believed in the objective reality of the devil. The theurgic rituals of the Temple of Set involved the Prince of Darkness as a sinister supernatural power. On 21 June 1975, Michael Aquino received a direct revelation from Satan, later published as the Book of Coming Forth by Night. This revelation presented the 20th century as the beginning of a new satanic dispensation. Tribute was paid to Aleister Crowley's earlier prophecy of a new age of Horus characterized by power politics and mass destruction. Aquino's ritual practices included Crowleyan magic and the conjuring of intelligent, evil entities. Impressed by the power and conquest of the Third Reich, Aquino also flirted with the myth of Nazi occultism. While careful to reject anti-Semitism, many Temple of Set members were Jewish. Aquino regarded Heinrich Himmler as a satanic initiate. I always find it interesting how, when you get deep in there, how much Judaism and Nazism really seem to like to touch toes. Inspired by the popular myth of the SSS as a secret occult order, Aquino imagined the Wewelsburg as a major terrestrial focus of evil powers and conducted a satanic working there in 1981. Here, the black heart of Himmler's SS empire, Aquino claimed a higher initiation, later published as the Wewelsburg working. These American experiments in exploiting the shock value of Nazism have been superseded in the 90s by Nazi satanic cults that combine paganism with praise for Hitler and the Third Reich. In Britain, the Order of Nine Angles was founded by David Myatt, one-time bodyguard of the veteran British Nazi Callin Jordan and street activist in the British movement during the early 1970s. The ONA celebrated the dark, destructive side of life through anti-Christian, elitist, and social Darwinist doctrines. The link with neo-Nazism was implicit in Myatt's extensive writings on the religion and spirituality of National Socialism. In France, Christian Boucher combines an interest in Aleister Crowley's magic with the anti-Semitic and fascist ideas of Francis Parker Yockey. In New Zealand, there are Orders Sinistra Viventi and the Black Order, which claims a worldwide membership and publishes magazines such as The Heretic, The Flaming Sword, and The Nexus. The chief representative of Nazi Satanism in Britain is David William Myatt, whose thought has been a major influence on the international cult. Sorry, I lost my spot. All right, born in 1952, Myatt was brought up in East Africa and Singapore, where he was fascinated by spirit dancing and martial arts. In 1967, Myatt came to England to complete his secondary education while his father returned to Africa. The young Myatt made contact with a coven in Finland the following summer and later joined secret groups in London, practicing the magic of the Golden Dawn and Aleister Crowley. Around this time, the activities of Anton LaVey and the Church of Satan became widely known. Yet Myatt remained unimpressed by what he saw of ritual magic and occultism. He sought something altogether more exciting, dangerous, and truly evil. At the same time, he began to think of Satanism as a means to create a new fearless individual, a higher human type in a Nietzschean sense. Myatt derives the word evil from the Gothic term ubus, meaning going beyond the due measure for his teaching of self-overcoming. He asserts that Satanism requires the performance of acts that are generally regarded as forbidden, illegal, and evil if the initiative is to experience amoral and causal realms of sinister forces. A prime example of this ONA teaching is the practice of human sacrifice as a form of initiation and rejection of human morality. Myatt has written guidelines on the selection and testing of opfers, victims, prior to their ritual execution. Such human culling is supposed to heighten the Satanist's own contact with the dark causal forces because war, killing, and bloodshed are held to possess a powerful, sinister, and evolutionary value. Though he claims that the chosen victims are already reviled by society, his mention of Christians and journalists as potential candidates suggests otherwise. Human sacrifice is related to a prehistoric ONA tradition that victims were offered to propitiate the goddess Baphomet at the time of the spring equinox and the rising of the star Arcturus in the autumn. Myatt's defense of human sacrifice has led to acrimonious exchanges and condemnation by Aquino and others who seek to make Satanism socially acceptable. Iconics is a form of ONA magic directly concerned with history and politics. Myatt's ideas on the subject were inspired by his reading of Arnold Toynbee as his study of history, which maintains that every higher civilization passes through an organic life cycle of growth, challenge, maturity, and decay. Adopting the scheme to his magical worldview, Myatt introduces an aeon as a temporal manifestation of a causal energy expressed in the particular archetypes, ethos, and religious cults of each civilization. This is where accelerationism comes. Aeon, these are ages. So these are like aeonic change. Essentially, they have to apply sinister forces, which is accelerationism, chaos, whatever you want to call it. And from there, you're able to exert control, by creating a new aeonic age through darkness or whatever. You essentially, collapsitarian essentially kind of idea. Following Toynbee's analysis, Myatt identifies a common periodicity in the major civilizations of Egypt, Sumeria, the Hellenic world, India, Japan, China, and the West. Each civilization lasts about 1,500 and 1,700 years. After about 800 years of growth, a civilization is subject to some form of challenge, which initiates a time of troubles lasting an average 398 to 400 years. The final stage, typified by a strong military and imperial regime, lasts for a further 390 years, after which the civilization finally falls. The universal state or imperium of the West, which Maya associates with a Nazi revival, should commence in the period 1990 to 2011 and last till 2390 AD. So a little bit off. We're getting there, guys. The imperial future is jeopardized by the intrusion of a magical energy, both foreign and hostile to the native archetypes of the Western Eon. Here, Myatt borrows the ideas of the Magian soul from Oswald Spengler and Jewish cultural distortion from Francis Parker Yockey. Magian interference in a Faustian culture has led to an inversion of heroic, confident, and vigorous attitudes into feelings and ideas based on anxiety, guilt, and deference to inferiors and competitors. Myatt claims that the Nazarene/Magian ethos produces Christian faith and dogma, moral and political abstractions rather than embracing action and real experience of the world. This allegedly negative spirit has morbidly influenced Western civilization from being a pioneer entity imbued with elitist values and exalting the way of the warrior. It has become essentially neurotic, inward-looking, and obsessed. The dogma of racial equality, the sham of democracy, the myth of the Holocaust. Well, I mean, they got me with a few of those. Together with humanism, communism, and capitalism, he defines as Nazarene archetypes oppose the fulfillment of Western destiny in an imperium. All right, so I just thought that was all pretty interesting stuff to kind of get a deep dive on kind of where this came from. We're not going to dive too much deeper, but to bring this back to the present and kind of how these forces move and ebb and flow, well, bringing it back to the today, I mean, this may not literally be 764, but these are the areas, these are the sort of the mediums through which these fishes swim. Here's an old story that I've been meaning to cover for a while. Breaking. This is Breaking. Popular Roblox player and YouTuber has been banned from the game after receiving a cease and desist from the billion-dollar company, all because he and his team exposed child predators on the platform. So essentially, this is, like I said, this is we're looking at Roblox here, but Roblox, Discord, different chat things, gaming things, places where they'll find young kids, teenage kids, a little bit younger. These sort of places, these are where you'll find them at. All right. By the way, make sure you hit that like button when you're in here. All right, let's get into this. Sorry to bring this back up because I think there's a few videos in this thread. Now this was Schlep. So 6 Roblox arrests and accounting is the account here, and you can see legal cease and desist from Roblox. Corporation rewrite on behalf. Oh, God dang it. We write on behalf of Roblox. This letter serves as a formal cease and desist regarding your unauthorized and harmful activities on the Roblox platform. Your actions are a violation of Roblox policies and directly undermine Roblox safety efforts and critically are exposing our users to increased risk. These actions include engaging in simulated child in danger conversations, sharing or soliciting PII, personally identifiable information, and directing users to move conversations off platform. So Roblox is committed to aggressively combating illegal and harmful conduct, including child exploitation, through a dedicated and sophisticated team of safety professionals, advanced moderation systems, and partnerships with law enforcement agencies. For example, Roblox proactively reports potentially harmful content to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the designated reporting entity for the public and electronic service providers regarding suspected child sexual exploitation. Further, Roblox maintains direct communication channels with NCMEC and agencies like the FBI for immediate escalation of serious threats that we identify. While Roblox acknowledges that your stated intentions may be to protect children, and while it recognizes the serious nature of online predatory behavior, your methods, including failing to immediately report suspicious activity to Roblox through proper channels, are actively interfering with Roblox established safety protocols and critically are exposing Roblox's users to increased risk. Currently, pursuant to Roblox policies, Roblox will be closing your accounts. Please note that Roblox community standards prohibit opening new accounts to evade an enforcement action. Therefore, we demand that you cease and desist from accessing all Roblox platform. Please be advised that Roblox reserves all rights to take any and all appropriate legal action against you should your violations of the Roblox community standards continue. Such actions may include, but yada, 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 yada. You don't need to know the ins and outs of the specific legalese there. Now, Schleb, created by Michael and backed by 6 advocacy-minded individuals, is on a mission to keep minors safe. Their work has already led to 6 arrests of child predators and was even spotlighted by a local California news outlet after they tipped off police about a 21-year-old trying to lure a 13-year-old.
A warning for parents tonight after a man in Fresno was caught trying to lure who he believed was a 13-year-old girl on a popular gaming platform. The 21-year-old was arrested this week by Hanford police after an online safety group tipped them off following a sting of their own.
All of it was captured on camera, and tonight, Action News reporter Christina Lopez joins us from the live desk with a look at how it unfolded. Christina?
Margot and Warren, those online advocates go by the name of Schlep, a small group of about 6 individuals from across the country whose mission is to keep online predators off popular gaming platforms like Roblox and keeping minors safe. Since it began its advocacy a year ago, the group's undercover operations have led to 5 arrests, the most recent in Hanford.
In Callin, listen as this online predator asks his victim, a decoy girl, if she's a cop.
I think like a police officer. You know?
Wait, what? Me?
Yes, you.
That man's voice belongs to 21-year-old Manuel Coronado Gonzalez of Fresno. You can hear him question the decoy during a recent video game online.
What grade are you in now?
My grade? I'm going into sophomore year.
You're going to sophomore year?
No, I'm going.
Their initial plan was to meet at a public bathroom to have sex with this decoy.
Online safety advocate Michael, who asked us to withhold his last name for privacy reasons, says this is not Gonzalez's first time luring minors on Roblox, the popular online gaming platform with over 97 million daily users. The predator in this case talking to the decoy for 2 months.
We had actually caught him on multiple decoy accounts doing this. It wasn't just a single one.
Michael is the content creator of Schlep, an independent group working to keep online platforms like Roblox safe for kids.
So we will find these people and give them the predators that we find, and they will go and confront them in person.
His pursuit of capturing these online predators, a personal crusade for the 21-year-old.
I, as a kid, when I was young, victimized by some people in the Roblox community.
His YouTube channel, Schlep, home to over 445,000 subscribers who view hundreds of videos showcasing sting operations nabbing online predators. The group coordinating with law enforcement, leading to 5 arrests. The most recent involving Gonzalez in Kings County on June 10th, suspected of contacting a minor with sexual intent.
Every single arrest that I've gotten, if it wasn't us, it would have been a real kid. It would have easily been headlines.
Watch the moment when the suspect realizes he's involved in a sting.
Manuel's your first name? M-U-M-A-N-U-L?
Please, man. I know. Is there some sort of I don't want to go to jail.
Hanford Police sharing its gratitude to those who bring these types of cases to law enforcement, saying in a statement to Action News, it urges members of these particular groups to operate within the confines of the law and exercise caution for the safety of themselves and others.
That's my mission. It's to stop headlines. I don't want to see these kids get victimized anymore.
Now, this is not the only recent crime of this nature in the Valley. A similar case happened in Kern County this week. A 20-year-old man is facing 5 felony charges, including child abduction through the popular gaming platform.
Seems like a nice kid. Obviously, not the molester, but Michael here. Michael, now 22, was himself a victim as a minor when an adult targeted him when he was playing Roblox. 6 years ago, the trauma nearly drove him to take his own life. When his mother reached out to the Roblox team, she was brushed off. So here's a version of this. Oh man, it's hard to read. Man, I don't know. I might not try to read that one. That's kind of grainy. Is your son going through a really tough time? We want to assure you we will do anything in our power to help you further. For this, we will be escalating this. Any more additional information that you find, please reply this email with it. There are additional resources available on these websites. Here's a couple, and they give them some websites. If he was having problems with the other players in Roblox, you should use a report abuse button. We want everyone to enjoy their experience in Roblox. We have moderators online around the clock, reviewing reports, helping keep Roblox safe for all players. Remember, even though you cannot see if an account is moderated, our team does take actions against accounts caught violating the terms. If it happens online, it's cyberbullying and yada, 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 yada. Okay, so that is, and they got it from Carlos from customer care, so it's a report they had in the past. But it gets even more shocking. After recovering, Michael chose to stay in the platform because he had made genuine friends. But after years of playing, he discovered that child predators were still rampant on Roblox. So he took matters into his own hands, launching a personal crusade to expose them. At one point, he even offered his help. Directly to Roblox to help keep kids safe. Not only did the company ignore him, CEO David Baszucki blocked him on X. Now Roblox has officially labeled vigilante groups like his a platform risk and warned that anyone involved could have their accounts banned, calling their efforts harmful to others. Here is his account, Schlepp on Twitter. He says, since Roblox reads my tweets, for future arrests, I'll be creating a support ticket through my Roblox account, Schlepp Arrests, and it'll include all the documents and evidence we send to police after each arrest. A direct contact would help way more, and we could really get some bad people off the site. I hope the people at Roblox understand that my intentions are genuine, and my only goal is to help make the platform I care about so much a safer place. It's not about views or publicity. I was getting far more last year, making safer, less risky stuff, and I've dropped everything to help bring awareness to this issue because I was a victim of it when I was a kid. Let me help consult or be an advisor in some capacity. I could truly help make a difference. I do it entirely for free, and I'd sign any contract if it means I could help. And then, I don't know why they're showing vigilante groups here. This is what Roblox is. This is like information, I guess, on Roblox site or somewhere labeling vigilante groups a platform risk. So here you go, vigilante groups. So these are like the pedo hunters. Law enforcement professionals are best positioned to investigate potential crimes. Therefore, we want to be sure any violations from Roblox are reported and acted upon through the proper channels. Fortunately, there are cases of vigilante groups or individuals violating our policies to entrap users or otherwise self-police the platform. While these groups may appear to have the public's interest at heart, they're in fact acting in ways that could be harmful to others, both on and off our platform. For example, their efforts may leave bad actors on the platform longer simply to create more sensationalized social media content. Actions taken by vigilante groups increase the risk of more users being exposed to bad actors and can delay enforcement efforts by both Roblox and law enforcement. Any account, including those of vigilante groups or individuals caught violating our policies, will face consequences up to and including removal and banning where warranting. Well, I guess they're not technically saying to be the vigilante here is wrong, but they're vaguely referencing some other policies that you could break in the effort of trying to be a vigilante pedo hunter, I guess. Here's David Baszucki, the CEO of Roblox, and like they said, he got blocked, so there's the block there. Here's Schlepp again. So this is a 22-year-old Roblox pedophile from Hawaii. I got arrested after he planned a meet with a 13-year-old decoy through a Roblox game. I submitted a support ticket, got an AI response, and he's still on the platform and still talking to minors. So far, Schlepp has been responsible for the arrest of 6 child predators. Who's this guy? Alex Rosen and his group to take down a game developer who was active on Roblox, created his own game, messaging a 14-year-old, and admitted to watching child pornography involving victims as young as infants. All right, watch this.
Hey, what's up? So we're here with your Roblox developer, right? Hello. Yep. We're about to do the wipe on his phone. We're going to get rid of the child pornography on your phone, right? Okay. How many images do you think we have to get rid of child porn on your phone?
About like 30 or 40.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly.
And what's the game coming out?
Undertale.
Hell yeah, we're gonna make this game successful. All right, guys, what's up? This is Maury King over there. We're in Polk County, the land of Grady Judd. He is a Roblox game developer, and he was messaging who he believes to be a 14-year-old girl, pretty sexually online. So we approached him in person, and he ends up admitting to possessing 40 images of child pornography and viewing videos as young as babies and toddlers. And he's been viewing child porn for years, and he has a long life of carnage ahead of him. If he wasn't stopped today, he admitted it on camera. The cops saw the footage. The cops are currently having him detained, and I believe we're going to see an arrest very soon. This is Polk County, Florida. Special thanks to Ruben Sim and his friend Schlepp for kind of bringing this guy to our attention. They were kind of patrolling Discord for potential pervs, and they found this guy, and we were able to confront him and get him to admit to a lot of things. So, yeah, be sure to join on the subscribe. Press that subscribe button, actually, the purple thing on our bio. $5, and you can see this full-length video when it drops. But if you want to see even more, join Locals. So, yeah, another one.
Hell yeah, another pedo down. Good to see. Schlepp has regularly reported child predators to Roblox, individuals actively grooming minors on the platform, yet Roblox often takes a long time to suspend them or simply ignores reports altogether. Some of these predators' avatars openly promote age play and display map flags and apparel, openly identifying themselves as minor-attracted persons, PDF, or simply starring I love minors. So you can see here, like you see one example of one character with I love minors. Says right there, you see someone says you're a PDF here, and someone's saying yes. Then we see, you know, it's okay to be a pedophile. Someone made that thing in Roblox. Here's a little fucking gay, you know, kitten character you can be. It says kids love. So yeah, a little creepy. This vigilante group has been contacted by hundreds of victims and potential victims, thanking them for their work and advocacy to keep children safe. Yet Roblox claims that such groups are increasing the risk of more users being exposed to bad actors. Just a couple examples of people saying that. We won't read that. This thread is designed not only to alert parents about the dangers their children face while playing online, but also to put pressure on the Roblox team to take the safety of minors on the platform seriously. Even with new safety features, the company is facing multiple lawsuits across the country, alleging it made it too easy for pedophiles to pretend to be children on the platform.
Video games for little ones. You may not have heard of it, but it's called Roblox. And it's coming under fire tonight from critics who say the company behind the game is not doing enough to protect children. Our Charlie Wojciechowski is on the story. He's joining us now with this controversy and what parents can do to protect their kids who may already be using this game called Roblox.
A lot of people are. You know, they call Roblox a sandbox game. Users can build their own worlds, even build their own games on the platform, all while chatting with their friends. And that's often where the problem comes in. Now, a series of lawsuits are being filed here and across the country that allege the company has made it too easy for pedophiles to pretend to be children on the platform so they can prey on kids. With over 380 million active users, Roblox is considered the most popular online game. Many of its players are. But the California-based company is now facing hundreds of lawsuits, including this one filed by a Chicago firm alleging the company was negligent in failing to protect the safety of its users.
It's a horrific case. It involves...
I mean, they're getting hit by these lawsuits, and then we also have, to credit to the government, I guess where credit's due, we also have over here in Florida, we have our Attorney General being pretty good about it. So let's see what he had to say.
This is Attorney General James Uthmeyer. Today, our office will be issuing criminal subpoenas to the online children's gaming company, Roblox. Roblox profited off of our kids while exposing them to the most dangerous of harms. They enabled our kids to be abused. Companies like Roblox have become breeding grounds for predators to get to and have access to our kids. These criminal subpoenas will enable us to gather more information for our prosecutors about the criminal activity taking place on Roblox platform, as well as evidence on the predators that are out there and the victims that are abused. At the end of the day, we will stop at nothing to fight to protect our kids, and companies that act carelessly and expose them to harm will be held accountable.
Now, obviously, there's an interesting question to be had about internet censorship and the like, but I don't know exactly. But obviously, if you're finding examples of literal pedophilia, then yeah, let's get the law enforcement involved. Obviously, I have my concerns sometimes, you know, when they subvert in certain levels and certain stories. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know. It is obviously a touchy situation when you're dealing with these on these chat things and stuff, there's a delicate balance. What do? Well, at the very least, when there are, I don't know, literal, I don't know, accusations of pedophilia, then I don't know, maybe you should respond to them. So, yes, it's good to see the Attorney General in Florida and some pushback occurring. I think just maybe, I mean, especially if you heed the warnings that I gave in the beginning, kind of stop gooning. Maybe, just maybe, we can work towards a better tomorrow where these sort of things just fizzle out. But with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I love you all. If you want to support the show, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. You can follow the show on YouTube, Rumble, all the major audio podcatchers. You can find me on Twitter at TowerGangJose. And if you want to support the show the best way you can do that with money at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. QR code's right there if you want to use that. The lowest level is $2. That gives you access to early episodes. I usually do about 1 to 2 a week. Keep about 4 behind the paywall on any given time. You also get access to the ad-free RSS feed. You get access to the Telegram. You get access to the pre-show, the post-show, and video calls from me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead. And you got to give a big shout out to my sponsors at the end of every episode. That's the highest level of my Patreons. It's a big thank you for everything they do. I have my previous co-host on Tower Gang at Learn Your Toad, also at AbrogateDs, at Zeo, VRECK, at _Infinite Zeal, Tim Tuttle at John Klebold, big fan of the show, Torn May, at Wayne Tackless, 1-800-CARS-FOR-KIDS, No Free Lunch, Jack, and Mark Vestibule. And with that, guys, we're going to get out of here. Enjoy this beautiful outro. Should see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, or 11 a.m. Eastern, my bad. Give or take, that's the goal. Hope to catch you guys here, maybe 11:15, 11:30. We'll see. I'll let you know. I'm trying to warn you when I'm late. Keep an eye on the X. When I'm late, usually I'll let you know. Or if I can't make it or whatever. But with that, guys, love you all. Bye-bye. Enjoy the outro.
Excuse me, this is the 3rd time you messed up my order. Don't chew me out with me. I want to speak to your manager right now. Oh my God, Whiskers, no, drop it. Hey. Sparky, are you sure you can fix this? Thank you. Good job, Bubbles. Don't forget the forks. Fluffy, are you sure you can fix this?
Well, hello there. Are you lost?
Today, Sparky called his friend for help. Do you think they'll succeed?